Howdy, my beautiful Scorpio. How are you doing today? My name is SimplyVelca, and we're going to be getting into your weekly tarot reading today, Scorpio, for December 2022. All right, so when it comes to my tarot readings, please let me know in the comments below how they resonate with you. I like to know that I'm talking to a human, darling, and how my readings resonate with you. So I always love to hear from y'all in the comments below. All right, as well, keep in mind, Scorpio, just like when you're getting your horoscope read for your zodiac sign for astrology, all right, just like with those, when it comes to tarot readings, they are the same thing. Check out your sun, moon, and your rising sign. You get a better understanding what's happening in your life. All right, Scorpio. And if you do enjoy this tarot reading, darling, the best way to support me is completely for free. Can you believe it, Scorpio? Just give this video a like and subscribe, because even though it seems like it's nothing, it really does help me out a lot. And I know you don't have to do it, but I always appreciate those who do. So let's just get right into your tarot reading here, Scorpio, because I'm just now looking at it and I'm realizing we got 3 different archangels stepping forward to you this week. Or in the normal tarot, this would just be considered major arcana. So right off the bat, Scorpio, I see big transformation, or not transformation. You could be going through transformation, but I see a big transition happening. All right. Major arcana cards represent like big moments, big events happening, or big transitional periods. All right. So when you have all these coming together, it's just like, ooh, Scorpio, y'all are working on something fabulous. Right. And so as another note as well, when it comes to working with spiritual beings, whatever your spiritual practices are, you have both Archangel Michael, Gabriel, and Uriel all stepping forward to work with you this week. All right. I feel like this is a compliment as well to just your overall energy as well. So it's like, it's on one hand, Scorpio, where it's like, yes, they understand that you are working, you have a big vision, you have big dreams, you have big goals. All right. And so these spiritual beings, these archangels are willing to help you as long as it aligns with your spiritual path, darling. All right. I'm not offended by if you don't want to work with them. Everyone's path is different. What you practice is none of my business. But let's begin this tarot reading here. All right, starting with the World card, Archangel Michael. The number 3 is calling to you this week as well, so look up the number 3. But this card says, the world, a job well done, Scorpio, joy, contentment, and gratitude, and the path towards enlightenment. And so the first thing I want to be noting with this, Scorpio, is that the World card represents, it is the final card in the major arcana. So it's like the closing of the Fool's journey, the completion of the Fool's journey to begin a whole new Fool's journey, right? That's why you see the Fool as associated with the number 0, and each of the major arcana are like part of the chapters of that Fool's life there. So it's like you've completed something, Scorpio. I don't know if this is recently just due to this sense where it's like maybe you have finally finished evolving. All right, maybe you've been doing a lot of personal work this year. All right, maybe you've been, for some of you Scorpios, you might have really been attacking like your insecurities. So maybe you've been making it a priority to work on your insecurities, you know, maybe like losing weight or gaining weight, clearing your skin if you feel like whatever it is that was making you insecure. Some of you guys also, I get this sense of using your voice, where it's like you have a story worth being told, Scorpio. All right, that's definitely what I'm hearing. It's like you need to tell your story, Scorpio, what it is that you've gone through, because I'm especially noticing, especially because of this Empress card, just with the overall tone of your reading here, Scorpio, it's like you guys have been put through the ringer, and I don't know what it is that you've been going through. That's why you need to share it. All right, because it's like I feel like it's whatever has happened with your story, whether it's like you know some people, when it comes to creating their art, they create their best art when they're from their darkest points. All right. And so for one, I just want to acknowledge you, Scorpio, and just being like, holy crap, like y'all have finally did it. You guys have finally finished the lesson. You guys have finished going through the, what's it called? Going through the gauntlet here, Scorpio. You're going to be noticing as well, just like things in your life starting to lighten up. And what I mean by this is that, especially due to the tone of this reading, I wouldn't be really surprised if, you guys have just been dealing with like trial after tribulation and, you know, thing after thing, where it's like everything's being complicated here because of this World card saying just like, hey, you're done, Scorpio. You finished this long chapter. You finished this lesson here. Now we can enjoy the benefits, right? So let me know in the comments below. What have you guys, has it been something like in the career wise that's been a lot of drama? Maybe you guys have been dealing with some financial struggle. Socially, Scorpio, you know, what is this? Like, what have you guys been making a priority this year for however long? I feel like it's like this year, maybe the past like 6 months at the minimum. What do you guys have been working on? Because it's like you guys are job well done. I mean, literally the card says a job well done. Like you guys have completed it, Scorpio. All right. And so I'm going to explain why I have such a positive tone when it comes to this reading, Scorpio, because I always like to explain tarot like it's a puzzle, because it is a puzzle. And I'm not just saying a positive message just because it's a positive message. If it was something bad, I would tell you. I lose nothing from telling you. But you have the Sun card coming in, which is the most positive card in the tarot deck, Scorpio. The Sun card says happy outcome, brilliant new ideas that lead to success, and having confidence in yourself at this time, Scorpio. So you completed a chapter in your life, which was a pretty hard chapter. All right. Give yourself some more credit, Scorpio. Like, you really worked through it. And something I've noticed when it comes to people is like, sometimes they don't want to acknowledge what it is that they've gone through, or being, it's like, I guess the best way I can put this is like, you try to play it down, or like someone compliments you, Scorpio, and you're probably just like, oh, anyone can do it. It's just like, no, Scorpio, this is the time for you to just take it in, be present with yourself, and be like, holy crap, you know what? I really did that. A weaker person could not have handled that, but I did this. I accomplished this. Be proud of yourself, Scorpio, truly. And don't cringe or shy away from just acknowledging it. It doesn't make you weaker. It doesn't make you a victim or anything. It's just the reality of what it is. You've been put through the ringer. It was tough. You completed it. Fabulous. This, the Sun card. You're going to be noticing, Scorpio, something I want to be pointing out with this is that brilliant new ideas. All right. And so it's like, I feel like you've already had some of these ideas in the past building up, and maybe you just haven't had the time or the energy to entertain them or to work on them, Scorpio. But what I'm seeing in this type of dynamic here is just like, now that things are starting to clear away, your spiritual team is just like sitting there. It's just like, all right, Scorpio, it's time for business here. What are we going to be working on? Like, what creative pursuits are we going to be doing now that the stresses are starting to fade away here? Like, let's be about the business. Let's be about the creation process here now, right? And so I don't want this to come off as, Scorpio, where it's like you need to just be focusing on productivity. Honestly, like, the hustle culture nowadays is pretty toxic, right? We all know this. So don't take this as a sign where it's just like you need to just continue hustling, but understand, Scorpio, where it's just like, hey, the trials and tribulations are done with. You've completed that chapter, Scorpio. So don't hold back on doing these new creative ideas based off of thinking me like, oh no, I'm gonna have, I don't want to start this one project here. I don't want to start looking for love. I don't want to start looking for a friendship here, because I know right when I start doing it, a bunch of drama, or something bad's going to be happening bad, right? It's not the case whatsoever. I promise you, pinky promise you, Scorpio. And getting into your third card here, Scorpio, you have the Empress. All right. Now, this is the card of why I was saying, like, I can tell you've been through a lot, because the Empress card is my character building card, honey. Right. My regulars already know this, Scorpio. Like, this is my character building card. While she is so beautiful, like, all right, we're going to sit down for a spell, Scorpio, because I guess I'm just really giving y'all like a tarot lesson. So some of y'all may not be interested, but hey, you know what? You don't come to my tarot readings just to hear a bunch of positive fluff. I mean, maybe some of you guys do, but it wouldn't be going off too well. But like, when it comes to people taking in my readings, I like to make it a collaborative educational thing, so you are able to like go to other readings and be like, oh, okay, Velca talked about this, I understand this, and plus it helps you understand how this message specifically relates in your life. But I digress, honey. Scorpio, when it comes to the Empress card, she is the card that represents fertility. Now, I'm not talking about pregnancy. I mean, I could be fertility in the pregnancy sense, but it's like she's very in tune with the universe. Think of it like kind of like Snow White, I guess, is the only, I don't know why she popped up in my head, but like Snow White, you know how Snow White, I think it's Snow White, where it's like all the animals and stuff are around her. She's like very connected to the earth and nature around her. That's kind of like the Empress, where it's like, Scorpio, even while your life may have felt chaotic and been a mess, I feel like you've always on some level have felt spiritually guided, or at least you may not have been able to put a name to or to categorize it, but you probably have felt, you've acknowledged that there's some type of spiritual force or some other force beyond yourself that has guided you. You're connected to something. So while it's like, yes, you're stressed out, feeling maybe even anxious, Scorpio, on some deeper level, you understand that you will make it through it because of your spiritual team. Now with the Empress, she's connected in that way with the universe around her, but she also radiates beauty, because she's the one where it's like she doesn't allow what circumstances around her to make her bitter, because she's in tune with the universe. She understands what obviously genders don't matter, by the way, but when we're talking about the Empress, like the Empress archetype, like this is a woman here, right? But you can be male, woman, non-binary, darling, you get the point, right? But so continuing on, Scorpio, like there's so many layers to this Empress card. And so it's like, you know how in like a pregnancy where it's like you have 3 trimesters, Scorpio, before you give birth, kind of like this in the sense where it's like the trials and tribulations that you go through, all of it is feeding the Empress towards giving birth to whatever it is that she wants to create, whether this is like a love life, whether this is a career. And so ultimately what you can gather from this here, Scorpio, if we're going to summarize this before we even get to the clarifiers, darling, all right, is this is like a message where it's just like, you have been put through, girl, you have been put through the ringer, Scorpio. You've been put through the ringer, but it hasn't made you bitter. You haven't lost sight of, like, I would even argue it's like because of like everything that you've been put through, that's what has inspired you to continue creating, or maybe it has even pushed you to do certain things that you normally wouldn't have considered. And so what I really want to get to the point with this here, Scorpio, is that like, this is really a time to really acknowledge yourself as this Empress and understanding your potential, understanding that the trials and tribulations that you were put through, while yes, it can suck, darling. And I'm not going to be like the new age spiritual person where it's just like, oh, darling, don't be sad, don't be depressed, you know, no, that's low vibe. Like, girl, fuck you. Anyway, you know, if you're going through depression, honey, the worst thing you can hear is some new age spiritual person be like, oh, remember the high vibes, you know, law of it, girl. But in this sense here, Scorpio, it's like, it's understanding that while yes, crappy things may have happened to you, it's kind of like a making lemonade out of lemons, right? It's this sense of where it's like you've been beaten down, but you still are rising above it all, still being beautiful, still being a very positive force for the world around you. All right. And so you are taking advantage of like the life lessons. Like, you're street smart, Scorpio. You're street smart. You're very aware about what has gone on. You're very aware just about like due to what life has put you through. And now you're taking advantage of it. Or if you haven't started taking advantage of it, start taking advantage of it, Scorpio. All right. Start taking advantage of it, because the Sun card is going to be revealing to you extremely positive energy. Like, I'm not going to be surprised because of this double whammy dynamic here, Scorpio. I'm really not going to be surprised, darling, if like some things start really like taking off or like really blowing up, right? So if this reading was for me, I mean, I guess I'm a Scorpio cusp and I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart, but like in this type of dynamic here, Scorpio, basically you can kind of fact check me in the sense of just looking at my YouTube channel, right? Where it's just like, this would be the type of dynamic for me where it's just like, okay, like I've gone through the ringer. Now I'm going to take advantage of these creative ideas. For example, Scorpio, I'm going to be vulnerable here. Like, I've been planning on doing a podcast for a while. Don't tell the other Zodiac signs, honey. But like, I've been planning on doing a podcast for a while. And so it's like, this is like an I'm not going to try to pronounce that word, amalgamation. Let me know in the comments below if you know what word I'm trying to say. I don't know why that word came to me and I want to pronounce it, but it's like, due to what I've been put through, it has given me the ability to have to feel like I can do a podcast and talk about spirituality. I mean, darling, I got out of a satanic cult, honey. Oh, I have hair now. I can do this. I got out of a satanic cult, honey. So I have a story to tell. So think about it in that way, Scorpio, where it's just like, I took my trauma and I'm now about to be doing something fabulous, and maybe hopefully something takes off from that, and it's going to be your story as well. So I know I was extremely long-winded, Scorpio, but I don't care. You know, I know that this reading is going to reach the specific Scorpios that it needs to reach. I know this reading's not going to be for everybody. I know some people are going to have clicked off of it, but I know like the Scorpios that I'm connecting to, like this is cheaper than therapy, right? This is cheaper than a life coach, and you're going to be thanking me later, Scorpio. I promise you. So I guess we're going to just leave my hair like this, but I just saw myself on the screen. I was like, let's get into some detail now, Scorpio. Now that I've been running my mouth for a hot biscuit here, let's get into some detail about all this, like what's picking up here. First of all, let's just draw from the back of the deck here. All right, Scorpio. So if you're wondering where I'm pulling the cards from, you'll understand. So the Three of Cups coming in here. The Three of Cups talks about victory, celebrating with people around you. You might be noticing as well, Scorpio, you'll know, actually, this is what I'll say to you. You'll know for a fact, Scorpio, when this big playing energy is happening in your life that we were talking about, because you'll notice people around you. It's like your community, like your group of people, your tribe of people is just naturally going to start gravitating towards you. It's like your community starts building itself while you're just sitting there being Scorpio. All right. So don't be surprised. Like, you'll know that's a sign that like things are about to really take off for you, Scorpio, when you notice your social circle really just starting to just naturally come together. All right. Continuing on though, the Three of Cups Scorpio represents victory and celebration for some good news here. All right, another message really amplifying what we were talking about. I know you can't see me, but I'm pointing towards these angel cards here. What we were talking about some really good news, something really about to take off for you, Scorpio. All right, so again, all these extra layers reinforcing why I'm saying these messages, so you understand I'm not just saying a positive message just to have a cute click title, you know. So let's continue on. Back for the deck here. Eight of Wands coming in here. Now the Eight of Wands, Scorpio, a couple messages here. The Eight of Wands in its own right can represent fast forward movement, travel here. Some of you guys might be thinking about traveling in some sense, but what I actually personally intuitively feel, and you can just tell me maybe I'm wrong in this, Scorpio, intuitively I feel like this is more so like things picking up in some facet of your life. So maybe your priority is career, right? Things in your career will pick up. Or if it's in social life, things will pick up in your social life here really quickly. But also with the Eight of Wands, another part of the Eight of Wands here is I'm going to look at my I'm very big on imagery and illustration of cards. So I'm going to be looking for the Eight of Wands in this deck because you understand it better. But the Eight of Wands represents experimentation, right? You know, I always like to describe the Eight of Wands, Scorpio, as like, you know, in Harry Potter, if you watched Harry Potter, the first one, where it's like Harry Potter goes to, spoiler alert, you know, when Harry Potter goes to the wand shop or whatever, and they have to experiment and find out which wand is for Harry. And that's kind of like the energy of the Eight of Wands, is where it's just like you're experimenting. If I can find the card, you're experimenting. There we go. You're experimenting, Scorpio, with each wand. And so while you're looking at this Scorpio and you're probably just like, Velka, why did you spend so much time trying to show me a card with the same 8 wands, honey? I want to show... I almost had like choked on my spit. I want to show you these 8 wands right here because it has the hands with it, right? So it's like, I guess it kind of just like more so like builds the same vision of where it's just like you're trying out each wand and experimenting, like which is the right wand for you, like which wand feels right to you, you know, like this is my wand. You know, so it's like I don't know why I'm in such a silly mood talking to y'all, but anyways, so it's like you're finding your niche, you're finding where it is that you're meant to do. Kind of like how for me is like my next step is for podcasting. Maybe for you, what is your next step? What is your next thing that you're going to be experimenting with? Like what are you going to be taking advantage of these new creative ideas for now that you're going to be having some of your stresses and anxieties being relieved from you, so that you can even afford to think about doing anything besides surviving and keeping your head above water, right? Continuing on in the back of the deck here, Justice card. This is Libran energy. Now, I don't really like to talk about, especially when it comes to general tarot readings, I don't really like to say it's like, oh, it could be having a, you know, Libra coming into your life or what have you, but I like to also acknowledge it as well on some level. You know, the Libran energy here. With this justice thing, with this justice card here, this is like a nice balancing of energies. It's almost this sense, Scorpio, where it's like, it's not as if like you were ever doing anything wrong here, right, in your life of why things just were not happening. I feel almost as if on some level, do I say it, Scorpio? I feel like on some level that you were kind of like intentionally pushed through the ringer for a little bit. You know, it's almost this sense, Scorpio, where it's like spirit wanted you to have to like fight for a little bit or to grow through certain things. So that way, when you start approaching these new creative ideas or what have you, you come from a more well-rounded, educated place. Does that make sense here, Scorpio? It's like, I don't know. It's like with that justice card there, it's like a nice balancing of energy, pun not intended, but I suppose so. A nice balance of energy there where it's just like, yeah. And I also want to be pointing out, I feel like there's also this sense of like whatever you're experimenting with, I feel like that also brings further balance into your life where it's like maybe for a while, Scorpio, you are used to playing small and only wanting to do one specific thing. When Spirit's sitting there, it's like, no, Scorpio, you're meant to be doing so much more than just one specific thing. You're meant to be doing so much more than just working that one job or what have you. You're meant to be exploring. You're meant to be exploring a wide range of things. I don't know why I cannot speak right now, Scorpio. See if there's any other clarifiers before we move on for you here. I mean, I think I'm going to end it after 2 more cards from here, at least this portion. The Nine of Cups, this is a wish being granted. I mean, darling, you look at this person, you see how happy they are. Big things are coming for you. A lot, like the Nine of Cups, I like to say, is like you don't win the pot. I mean, technically you see the pot of gold in this, but it's like the storyline behind the Cups journey is one of where it's just like you're walking away from 8 cups in hopes to find something in the future for 10 cups, right? So it's not the sense of Scorpio where it's like you win everything that you want in this world and then some, but it's like you're receiving confirmation of whatever risk that you took with doing something, it's starting to pay off. So let's just go back to using myself as an analogy here. You know, whenever I quit my job and I started doing tarot full-time years ago, darling, I started receiving signs being like, okay, like YouTube was a sign for me, be like, okay, like this is like YouTube was the Nine of Cups for me, where it's just like, okay, like this is what it's meant to be, you know, but it's not the end of the story. It's not the end of the journey. It's just beginning. But this experience really validated, girl, I can't find this Eight of Cups. It really validated to me that what I was doing was the right thing, and to continue pushing forward, because eventually I'll find that 10 cups, right? Eventually I'm going to reach that 10 cups. And so, girl, of course I'm trying to find this Eight of Cups. I guess it doesn't even matter right now. Anyways, you get the point, Scorpio. Is that sense of where it's like you're going to be extremely validated. Like, again, expect some really insanely positive news here that really reignites your passion for life again. Really ignites motivation is another word that I hear as well. And then the Two of Wands. I wouldn't be surprised, some type of contract, long-term future plans here. Maybe something setting you up for the long-term future here. Maybe something career-wise, or maybe even if it's a connection there, right? Whatever the case is, something's about to become some positive news that's going to be worth celebrating, is really going to validate your path and do nothing but continue to inspire you to continue going forward. All right. Whew, Scorpio, that was a lot. Let's continue on though, because I'm not done running my mouth. Let's continue on for your social life. Now, your social life portion of this reading, Scorpio, this could be platonic, romantic, business relations, someone you know, someone you don't know. You know, I don't like to attach labels to it. How are people perceiving you? All right, Scorpio. So we have the Eight of Fire, the Eight of Wands. This deck, you don't use reversals, by the way. Events moving at a fast pace, Scorpio. Delays are over. Many things are happening at once. Hasn't this but basically been saying everything that I've been saying, especially from beforehand with that Eight of Wands, right? This is, you know, the delays are over, but this is your social aspect here. You have the Moon energy coming in. And then, darling, we have the Four of Pentacles. I like forgot y'all could see my face. The reason why you might have I have seemingly mixed emotions about this, Scorpio, is that I feel like, you know how I was saying that you're going to be having your people, your tribe of people coming together. And I don't like fear mongering or anything, so please don't take it in that way, because trust your intuition, because you're good at that. But I'm just a little bit concerned, Scorpio, about people coming in with their own intentions, right? And so that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? So let me put it this way, right? Sometimes there's going to be certain connections where you connect to them because of what it is that they are able to do, what it is that they're able to teach you, X, Y, and Z, right? And so I feel like in the future, when it comes to people you don't know, all right, that's something I want to be putting forward to you with this Moon energy. This lets you know this is all very foreign new energy. Be cautious about your newer connections coming forward, Scorpio, as you continue progressing, because I feel like the people coming forward to you and connecting to you, it might not be something that you're used to, where people are connecting to you because they're just they see you kind of as an opportunity. While it's not necessarily malevolent, there's nothing malevolent here, but it's understanding, Scorpio, what it is, where it's so when people connect to you, while you're thinking they're connecting to you because there's oh great, a new friendship, new connection there, just have the understanding where it's there's just be paying attention. All right, not all the people that you're going to be connecting to are just going to be sitting there wanting to use you. But as I think it's something that I have learned throughout my social media career, is that it's just really important to understand immediately what type of connection this is, right? Is this going to be a connection where it's like strictly work related, where we only really talk to each other for collaborations and stuff like that? Is this a connection where you actually just like me for me, want to talk to me? You know, just understanding where you stand with certain connections and like why they're there, you know, and don't ask them, right? Because they're always going to just say, it's like, oh no, I like you. Even if it's true, there's going to be other reasons. But having that understanding so that way you don't take it personally when you continue interacting with them. Does that make sense? It doesn't necessarily mean like, you know, I have many business connections, right? I have many, like I know a lot of tarot readers, some that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers that are very popular. Some of you probably even watch them, right? You know, and we connect off the basis of where it's just like, oh yeah, we both work in the same field. It's like, it's a work connection. So we understand that. So neither of us take it personally when we're not sitting there texting me, like checking up on each other, like, oh, how was your day today? What did you eat? So that's what I'm trying to get across. It truly is nothing negative with this, Scorpio, but I think just like you're not going to really anticipate, due to this newfound attention because of whatever is major is happening in your life. It's a foreign concept for you, for people to want to like, for you to understand that people are wanting to connect to you due to what it is that you're able to provide to them, right? So that's what I'm trying to get across here. See if I'm going to pull some clarifiers. Yeah, Fool card. So really validating this, Scorpio, where it's just like, this is more so just for new energy here, right? But this all comes in from this new phase of your life, this new version of your life. Page of Pentacles, you are going to definitely be getting a lot more people business-wise reaching out to you. And then the Lover's energy. See? Okay. This confirms it. So that's where it gets a little bit shady, is when people are trying to come in from this place of being like, oh, Scorpio, I love you, da 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 da, but they have their intentions, right? So it's like, you know, you just have to be the one to see it and set the proper boundary here. Again, nothing malevolent here, but it is just understanding, you know, just understanding what it is, right? You know, I feel like, hopefully my reading didn't confuse you too much, you know. If it did, let me know in the comments below, and maybe I can try to explain myself better. But I feel like I feel like we're on the same wavelength, aren't we, darling? All right, so let's get into your oracle reading today, Scorpio. See what your oracle cards have to say. You have the first quarter moon in Gemini, speaking your world into being. All right, speaking your world into being, Scorpio. Really positive card here. I feel like this is, again, just this sense of where it's like acknowledging that from this point forward for you, Scorpio, you darling Scorpio, someone ended up calling me and interrupted what my train of thought here. So as I was saying, with the speaking your world into being, you are the creator, you are the engineer, you are the architect of your life at this point forward. And I feel like, again, it might be hard for you to see your life or your future in this way, where it's just like you won't have to work as hard or focus just on survival, but focusing on building your own personal empire, whatever that is. But it truly, like, this is the time now for you, Scorpio, where it's like you're finally going to be able to feel safe enough, feel abundant enough to finally put your roots somewhere and building something grand. All right, so getting into your animal oracle card here, Scorpio, you have the Wombat Spirit number 68 in numerology, Scorpio, equaling to, what would this equal to? Number 5 in numerology. So look up the number 5 in numerology, see what messages that has for you. But this Wombat Spirit says being at home, being present, essentially here. I feel like as well, just as I've never gotten this type of message from the Wombat Spirit before, but I also feel like from this, Scorpio, like, especially when it comes to your creative ideas, see if it's something associated that you can do from home, right? I feel like for many of you, Scorpio, either you're going to be having a working from home opportunity, or anything that would allow you to work from home would be what would be extremely successful. So that's the tarot reading that I have for you, Scorpio. This was a long reading, probably the longest one that I've done for a moment here, but it was fun to do. So I love you so much. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing, and I'll connect to you sometime in the near future. Bye, Scorpio.